Story 1. I will update the human body. From now on, bones are harder to crack and organs are much harder to damage. Conditions like chronic back pain are fixed. Harder training results in better outcomes rather than damage to the body. Fat can simply be eliminated based on desire. Pregnancy can only occur if both partners agree to it. There are no more birth defects, cancer, sexually transmitted diseases, or similar illnesses. Teeth regrow on their own, as does any other damage to the body. It will heal itself over time, whether blindness, paralysis, or similar conditions are involved. Physical addiction to substances like alcohol and other drugs cannot happen anymore. A plant will start growing everywhere on the planet. Eating its fruit and going to sleep will completely change your gender with no negative consequences. Story 2. I would enable all people to receive the mental health support they need for free, and those providing the support would be compensated in a way that does not harm the respective nations' economies. Story 3. Like the God or just God. Because in being the God, you would understand everything and all things. You would understand why this exact moment, as well as all others, are happening, have happened, and will happen. You would understand the truth of all, and by that I mean all that is, all that was, and all that will be. In every aspect, variable, and perception of it. Any instantaneous thought that may exist in this form at this moment would be moot because it would not hold the same inflection point, as you would understand and see all points. Therefore, in choosing one decision, you would understand the cataclysm that would alter all others, including all creation and free will. Story 4. Make oaths actually binding. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth? Now you are actually required to. Story 5. I guess pick which religion is the correct one just for fun, something that has not been practiced for 10,000 years or so, and punish everyone for not following it. The punishment will be relative to how unkind you were to other people about thinking you had the correct one and they did not. Story 6. Some humans are sinning. It is time to reset. I could snap my fingers and the earth would restart, right? I am God after all. But instead, I will doom every living land creature on the planet to an agonizing, prolonged death by drowning, no matter if they sinned or not. That is what a kind and loving God would do, right? Story 7. If someone commits murder, their body glows and emits a red light. For the next 72 hours, they can be killed without sin. Story 8. End all the perverts of this world. Warmongers, people who rape and traffic others, pedophiles, assassins, corrupt politicians, every kind of fundamentalist, whether religious or any other kind, people who beat and abuse children and the elderly. You name it. I would have time to choose. Story 9. Send all racists, homophobes, anti-trans individuals, science deniers, child and animal abusers, and anti-vaccination individuals to a very remote, barely habitable planet and let them get on with it. Story 10. Implementing a bug fix to eliminate cancer. I really cannot believe the previous person allowed that to go into production. Story 11. Encountered the group of gangsters who were bothering me the previous day and made one of them act foolishly. Story 12. Adjust the universe so that unnecessary suffering is eliminated and make it plainly irrefutable that I exist and am in charge. Story 13. I am coming out in favor of gay and transgender people immediately and publicly, so those who oppose them have to confront my words versus their prejudice. Even if they choose prejudice, I get to hold my ground, so it is a win-win. Story 14. Teleport Venus into the Martian orbit around the Sun, letting them collide. Then teleport Ganymede above the colliding Mars and Venus, letting it collide as well. Then accelerate everything to a stable orbit. Tada, we have a planet that will be capable of harboring life in the future. After watching the fireworks, I will protect Earth from eventual debris. Then we can deal with Earth's problems. Story 15. Create a world without suffering that aligns with my design. Show my face more and stand by the people I care about. I would not punish people for not knowing me. Because you are meant to be all-powerful, you should not add to problems you can create or interfere with by being absent. I would be present. I want living to be more than survival. I want a better conscious mind guided by logic and facts, not emotions. It is hard to express this outside of my own consciousness and my desire to see people feel safer and cared for. That would be ideal. I do not know how it would be done because I am not God. I would not punish anyone for not wanting to know me. I could be your creator and support your existence without imposing on you. I would begin by creating heaven on earth. Heaven should not be a reward for servitude but a better existence than the one currently experienced. Story 16. Changing all the people who hate others into those they hate. If you hate gay people, now you are gay. If you hate a different race, you are now that race. If you hate the poor, congratulations, you are now poor. But it must be the type of hate that keeps you up at night, the type of hate that fuels your soul. Story 17. To help all people overcome ignorance and quickly understand medical science, climate science, biology, physics, and string theory. Story 18. Remove all rapists, child molesters, murderers, scammers, and abusive people, and replace them with kind people. Story 19. Any person whose net worth reaches $100 million develops an uncontrollable urge to spend the rest of their life and money helping the weakest and most vulnerable. Story 20. Gather up every supporter of the Make America Great Again movement in the world. I am God, so I already know who they are and where they are. Send them to an uninhabited planet capable of sustaining life, but one I do not like. Story 21. Also make the world flat. It would be hilarious for scientists to suddenly say, yes, it is flat. Story 22. I will create a boulder so heavy that even I myself am not able to lift it. Just to get that one out of the way. Story 23. Eliminate all evil. Now I have eternity to figure out if that was bad or if I should keep things that way. Story 24. Eliminate all of humanity and begin anew. The harmful individuals will be gone, and the traumatized good people will no longer be able to spread their anxieties. A fresh start. Story 25. I would give everyone proof that I exist and assure them that I am not so insecure and sadistic that I would torture them for eternity simply for not worshiping me. Story 26. It would be every needed action in that moment simultaneously. There would be no first, as anything and everything to be done could be done as one action in one moment. In conclusion, what would be my first action as God? Everything. Story 27. I would make the rich richer and the poor poorer, so I would end up collapsing capitalism. Wait, is this what God is already doing? Story 28. I would instantly implode due to the collapse of logical reality. God does not exist. Story 29. I'm picturing Raiders of the Lost Ark-style justice on certain people in the world, along with their enablers and followers. Story 30. I am tired. I am going to relax for a while and think this whole thing over again. Story 31. Remove all diseases from the innocent and the repentant. If you are still sick, people will want to know why. Story 32. I would deliver a message to the whole world by speaking out of the air something obvious that cannot be missed, and explain that Christians have it wrong. You do not go to hell just for being gay, and you do not have to join or be part of their group in order to get into heaven. I would also eliminate all sickness and illness, including mental illness. I would completely end human trafficking, making it impossible for it to continue operating. I would help the police find and rescue victims and ensure that trafficking cannot function anymore, like cutting out a weed at the roots. I would give everyone a $100,000 bonus deposited directly into their accounts. I understand this raises questions about who deserves it and who does not. But as a person dealing with poverty, I do not care if some rich person also receives $100,000. I would be happy to get it so I can invest in my future, pay for college, get a car, and afford things I could never dream of right now. I am sure as many people would be happy and relieved to get it as those who might be considered undeserving. I would also put out any wildfires currently burning, remove all trash from the ocean and air, and give the earth a reset. Obviously, it may become polluted again over time, but at least for a while it would be okay. So I would have a long list of things I would do if I were God. It makes me question his competency. It makes me think he should be replaced or his helpers should form a workers' union, though that did not work out well in the past. If someone replies with comments like, God's ways are higher than our ways or God did not create evil, it is our choice. I will have an existential crisis, then be done for the day and watch my favorite movie on the couch. Story 33. Probably thinking about all the things I now know. What happens on Earth becomes irrelevant. Just one of infinite other places. Story 34. Right, professional tip. The non-believers are correct. In clearly legible clouds in the sky over all the world's capitals at the same time. Story 35. I am going to start addressing those individuals who are clearly acting wrongly and expressing hatred in the name of God. I will give them an opportunity to change their ways honestly. If they do not change, they will face legal consequences. Story 36. Judgment Day for Christians is going to be difficult for many people because I have only recently moved from atheism to agnosticism and will be figuring out the rules as I go, so mistakes will be made. Sorry, not sorry. Story 37. Pause time and suspend all humans in individual bubbles 500 kilometers above the surface of the planet until I can sort the rest of it out. Story 38. Feed and house everyone. End suffering. That is what a god would do, but gods were created by humans, and they do strange things like drown every family and animal on Earth except one. People were wicked, and that is all the being smart enough to create all this could think of. Story 39. Use omniscience. Then apply omnipotence. The all-knowing part should be used before the all-powerful part to determine where to apply the latter. You must decide between the scalpel and the old smiting hammer. Story 40. First action as opposed to most important action? Probably something minor, like assessing the situation and reviewing how this happened. Or just whatever God's equivalent of breathe is. Story 41. Deliver a public and humorous death to a couple of rare and radiant public figures, nameless here forevermore. Make them expel all their blood or something. Story 42. Remove all conservative voters. Then sit back and watch Earthlings finally appreciate my original creation. Earth. Story 43. No politicians or clergymen in the world would be physically capable of lying. Things would become very interesting very quickly. Story 44. I would speak to everyone in the world, but just one sentence. Hi everyone. So this is a little awkward. It's pronounced Jod. That's it. Never again, never before. Just one statement to confuse everyone. Story 45. I am going to introduce a highly contagious retroviral infection into the human race which will gradually but irrevocably alter the human genome. This will have two primary effects. 1. It will increase the human capacity for empathy to a specific baseline. People who are already empathetic will remain effectively unchanged, while sociopaths and psychopaths previously incapable of empathy will gradually, over a timeline of years, become capable of normal human empathy and the resultant feelings of guilt. It will create a new autoimmune disorder among all humans, making them mildly allergic to the chemical cocktail in their brain chemistry that results from feelings of guilt. Someone telling a little white lie might experience mild irritation of the eyes, throat, or sinuses, comparable to mild seasonal allergies. But the more severe the guilt, the worse the reaction. Someone who lives their entire life on wealth stolen from exploited people will be in danger of full-blown anaphylaxis. This will be curable by correcting the issue causing the guilt, telling the truth, ceasing the exploitation, and so on. There will be a few minor secondary effects, but they will be delayed to the next generations, so we will not worry about those for now. Story 46. Stop everything in time for a period of deep thought and test the waters of my newfound gifts. I might give creation a try. Then I would definitely pay attention to Earth and decide if my omnipotence would be helpful or cause panic. I would most likely display my cosmic powers with signs pointing to a single entity, and use that to lead humans out of war and into a culture engraved with kindness, acceptance, love, and order. The golden rule would be the only rule. I would eliminate mental illness, hunger, and desires for war and conquest, and make it so everyone can sing well and literally create harmony with any other human, Whitney Houston-level vocals. Language would become universal again. Hopefully, national boundaries would dissolve. Obvious divine intervention might create further political rifts, but if humans think it's their idea, they are twice as likely to see it through. I would also bring back my mother just for lunch, not to disrupt the balance of life and death, but so she can see me as an adult and meet her grandchildren. Then I would escort her back to the pearly gates and share with her the memories I've obtained of things she missed, like weddings. Then I would begin the search for the next populated planet needing love, find it, and start a similar process. I would also give Pope Leo XIV powers to keep Earth in check while I am occupied dignifying and caring for other worlds. Story 47. I would make do unto others what you would have them do unto you, not a commandment but a genetic trait. Story 48. End all pain and suffering. Experience everlasting life that you can turn on and off whenever you want, along with everlasting paths and adventures. Enjoy zero negative emotions. Story 49. Give all people unlimited motivation to achieve their goals, excluding goals that involve harming others. Story 50. Put up a giant sign in the sky saying, "Fix your behavior or die." Set lightning to kill one oldest sinner every day, increasing the number of people killed by one each day. Then leave. Story 51. Give falsifiable evidence to all of the atheists who have been asking for it for decades. Then turn to all the faithful and say, "And that, folks, is how it is done." Story 52. Speak in plain language in 3,000 languages to tell people what I expect so we stop having religious wars and false preachers leading people out of their money. Story 53. Get rid of all country music. Second, erase all religion since it is the #1 cause of violence in the world. Lastly, eliminate all pedophiles. Story 54. I would make my presence known and let the entire world know that organized religion was the biggest mistake they have ever made and to stop killing each other in my name. Story 55. Stop and think about what I want to do. Make lists and checklists. Remove the unhelpful ideas or those that are reactionary. Come up with better plans, then do them one at a time. After each one, assess how it goes so I do not make multiple mistakes at once if I am getting it wrong. Story 56. Asteroids containing minerals worth over $1 trillion have just passed through the largest garbage patches in the ocean. The valuable resources cannot be obtained without first cleaning up the pollution. Good luck, marine life. Story 57. Everyone now feels all the emotional pain and anguish they inflict on others. One can actually die from it if they cause too much. Story 58. Trick a man into sacrificing his son and stop him at the last second. Maybe also explore the story of the burning bush. Story 59. Press Control, alternate, delete, and resolve whatever issues have been running in the background to improve the world, which has been affected by violence, abuse, and discrimination. Story 60. First new rule of the universe. If you are walking in a public space and stop in the middle of a doorway for no reason, you are instantly teleported onto the surface of the sun. Story 61. Cause the next mass extinction because I am extremely tired of humans being a horrible existence. I want dinosaurs back. Story 62. I have no clue. My essence would suddenly become perfect. I would be all-powerful. Things would continue as they were because it is under God's will. There would be a paradox of a finite creature being God, which is defined by the characteristic of being eternal. Story 63. Delete all humans, remove all potential evolutionary capabilities that could regenerate humans, then delete myself. Story 64. I start by seizing control of my favorite club, Panathinaikos Football Club. Saving the world comes second, and that could take centuries. Story 65. Practically nothing. I would simply watch and observe, silently guiding individuals onto the right path. Personal opinions aside, my new position would require me to shepherd and protect my wards. Story 66. Create a system where people can work toward goals using tasks that help them become better individuals. If you want $1 million, serve 1 million meals to homeless people. If you want a cure for cancer, run 1,000 miles. Every day you run 1 mile, the cancer is put on hold. If you want to cure your depression, get out of bed and take a shower every day for the next 4 weeks. It is not about fixing people's ailments. It is about giving people a sense of purpose in what they do. Story 67. Fake rapture. I bring everyone who uses the divine name to justify their own hate right before the grace of the heavens, then drop them. They ignite as they fall and hear me condemning them in their minds in their last moments. Story 68. Make my presence clear so people stop wondering which version is true. Instantly remove all extreme radicals who have kept us in the dark for ages. Cure genetic diseases and create stronger DNA. Story 69. Reincarnate Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Make Stevlin Hardaway Morris immortal. Restore Roberta Joan Anderson to her earlier state of health. And eradicate Donald Trump. Story 70. Tell the world's rich that they have 2 weeks to get right. They have 2 weeks to balance their scales. To enter my kingdom, they will need to have given as much as they have received. Story 71. A ham and cheese sliced tomato butter baguette sandwich that every time I nearly finish it, it reforms back to its original fresh form. It also never goes off and is always at the perfect temperature. Story 72. Rescue all the shelter animals, starting with the elderly animals and those that have been waiting in the kennels for years. Story 73. I only need one change to fix the world. Turn the human empathy meter all the way up to maximum so that everyone feels the suffering of others as indistinguishable from their own. Story 74. Order all pedophiles to the wood chipper feet first. Even Emmanuel Macron first met his wife, then 40, when he was her 15-year-old pupil. She was his babysitter. She is a groomer in my opinion and could get the wood chipper too. If a 40-year-old man did that, there would be hell to pay. Story 75. Directly contact every person on Earth. Have a one-on-one conversation with them about their lives. Answer their questions and heal their hearts. After that, address all misconceptions about me, including explaining the problems with certain religious beliefs. I would demonstrate exactly how everyone should love and show love for each other, provide tools to start living better lives, miraculously heal people and heal the planet. Then I would tell them that from this point on, everyone starts on equal grounds, that they should love each other and are now responsible for their society. Anyone who genuinely loves and demonstrates love for others will be helped when needed. But if they have no love for anyone but themselves, they must make their own way until they learn to love. Story 76. Strike down all the truly cruel people in the world. The warmongers, dictators, murderers, rapists, and those who use their power to take away other people's rights. Story 77. Make every snow season absolutely amazing for powder. Then make all the billionaire irresponsible individuals financially disadvantaged and transfer that wealth to the poor and middle-class people around the world. Story 78. First act. Remove all concepts of myself from the psyche of humans and let them be responsible for their own free will. Second act. Finally finish the book I have been working on. Story 79. Give up death for Lent. For those 40 days, nobody anywhere on Earth dies for any reason. Observe the reaction of humanity to such an event out of curiosity. Story 80. The truth. No more lies. Every man and woman who wants any kind of political or public life, influencer, actor, priest, etc., would have the inner workings of their mind online for all to see. We would all know the truth. Did you really care about all the things you claim to care about? Or was it all just a pack of lies? Story 81. Those who hoard money and resources will be transformed into actual dragons and monsters, as shown in literature. Story 82. Lie on the couch, get drunk, and watch television. No more work. Okay, maybe I am on my phone a little more than watching television, but that is expected. Later in the night, I might get a group to entertain me. Story 83. Everyone now looks as they truly are. The good are beautiful, the awful are ugly. The only way to change that is to genuinely try to be a better person. It will not work if the only desire is to be beautiful. Story 84. Seagulls become blue. All recorded history shows seagulls have always been bright sky blue. Any photos, artwork, videos, or writings referencing or depicting seagulls show they have always been blue. However, all human memories show they are white. If you saw a movie, video, or picture of a seagull in your past, you will remember that media depicted them as white. Your memories will be that seagulls were white and always have been white. Now, they are blue, and all human media and history support that they have always been blue. The change to blue seagulls is the first step. Story 85. Realistically, I would probably explore a galaxy billions of light years away for practice or boredom, then use my abilities to enter a black hole and visualize what I see using human eyes. I might create holes in the fabric of spacetime at a few random spots. Then, I would simulate 6 days of continuous punishment for those who use my name to justify hate. On the 7th day, I would remove 3 random limbs from each person to force them to rely on others' generosity to live. This would also apply to anyone who repeats the same behavior as a deterrent. Story 86. I will create a new species of intelligent mammal, similar to humans, to observe how humans will interact with this species. Story 87. Goodbye pedophiles, rapists, and other disgusting people. They are being sent directly to the deepest pits of hell. Skipping the part where they have to die and face judgment, I am just opening the ground beneath their feet. Story 88. Oh, I'm starting the rapture. Except it's not going to be about who believes in what religion. No, who you are as a person is going to dictate where you're going. I'm so tired of seeing the worst people running everything in the world because all the people who are not corrupt and would do what is best for the average person would never stoop to the lows the current people running things resort to due to a lack of any moral compass or compassion for others. Sympathy and compassion should never be seen as weaknesses. A system that instead rewards greed, abuse, and corruption is broken and needs to be destroyed. Story 89. Well, I would consume my offspring to ensure that they would not rise up against me in some sort of battle of the titans. Anything else would be foolish. Story 90. Make my fingertip ignite like a lighter, just to see if the powers really worked. Then I would make sure everyone could eat. Story 91. Create a cure for every disease but hide it somewhere in plain sight so that nobody notices it is there. For example, a random snack food contains a wonder chemical that cures everything when prepared correctly, and nobody bothers looking because it is too obvious. Story 92. Declare that gay people are in fact superior to straight people, not because I believe this, but because it will upset the haters. I may be God, but I am still petty. Story 93. I think it is clear that if I exist, it is better for every generation to know that I exist directly from me rather than just listen to thousand-year-old stories written in third-person hearsay to make a judgment about whether I do exist or not. Story 94. What kind of God? The omnipresent, omniscient, all-powerful one? Or the one that evangelical people claim needs me to fight for him because he is not all-powerful? Story 95. Dispel this falsehood. Ensure anyone who has used this deception to enrich themselves or profit from others' suffering is removed from this world. Story 96. Whisper to a random person and tell him he is the reincarnation of Jesus Christ or something similar. Continue with that until I get bored and then do what everyone else does. Story 97. I am curious as to why people choose to kill others instead of helping them improve. I understand the immediate reaction, but would it not be better to change the harmful concepts rather than the people acting on them? Imagine going back in time to before humans existed and implementing rules that prevent such terrible actions. This way, those actions would not only stop but would never occur at all. People seem very driven by vengeance. Story 98. I would plan to eliminate all suffering and wait to see if knowing everything makes that seem like a bad idea. Story 99. Honestly, keep living and do random acts of kindness. Being good is cool. Having the dishes and house cleaned at the snap of a finger sounds divine. Story 100. Do not make the first 4 commandments about how great I am while leaving out, you shall not own other human beings as property. Story 101. Immediate creation of an infinite afterlife. This afterlife is also retroactive, encompassing all current, future, and past sentient and sapient persons upon death. I use persons instead of humans because there may be other beings on this and other planets throughout the universe that are not human but are conscious. Individuals can have their own unique and individual utopias if they prefer. Groups of people can create shared utopias if they choose. People are allowed to decide to leave for technical death or peace, or to be reincarnated at any time. When reincarnated and having lived previous lives, they receive all their precious memories back. I want every conscious soul to be able to create as many or as few experiences as they want. Their afterlife could be a simulation of the world, living the life of everyone who ever lived. Alternatively, their afterlife could be reincarnating in the real-world life after life, accumulating thousands of years of experiences, where each natural death adds all previous lives' memories in their afterlife to be embraced in their intertwined complexity while souls grow. Their afterlife could be by the ocean, on the beach with the most beautiful sunset. They would be with their partner, both singing their favorite song, even if slightly off-key. They might choose to live those moments on an unconscious loop of bliss and joy forever. Those two might even be a pair of pilot whales or other cetaceans, because I want to protect and preserve every conscious mind in the universe until they are ready to move on. Human or not, terrestrial or not, they all deserve help and love. Story 102. Take some time to deal with the sudden influx of knowledge that comes with being all-powerful and all-knowing. Story 103. I take a nap. As God, I can manipulate time and space. There is no rush. The world can burn while I nap, and I can set things right when I wake up with no one being the wiser. Wait a minute. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.